Free them all.
We're saying,
Free 'em all.
Mumia
Live and
Abu
direct.
Jamaat,
Make it take
Oscar Grant,
Free 'em all. And positive energy is everything to us. So again, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Justice for Tyree, you guys see it here with the Nichols family and all the others that are out here fighting for justice for all. Hey, everybody. Happy Sunday. And I wanted to come on to, pay my respect to Shanquella and the Robinsons family on today, as it marks 1 year that Shanquella has been, gone. So I wanted to just come on here and, say a few words with you guys and also give you guys a quick update on what I've discovered. Um, I guess it's just a small clip. It's not that much, but it's something that the Mexican authorities are saying that they're still pursuing extradition charges and wanting to get the individual or individuals that's responsible for unaliving Shanquella brought to justice. Okay, so I was trying to put my little background here. Sorry, it wasn't together. But anyways, yeah, I wanted to come and do my diligence and just say, we've been 1 year fighting the fight for Shanquella Robinson, and unfortunately, there still hasn't been any justice for her. So I can connect my Bluetooth to this, hopefully. Nope. I'm sorry, should have had it together before I press start, but it's okay. We're here now. Okay. Alright, there we go. Alright, yeah, as I was saying, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl, hollywoodnex, in the building, bringing you guys yet another one. And, today's 1 year, October 29th, 2023. This all started last year, October 29th, 2022. Shanquella Robinson took a trip over to Cabo, Mexico with some would-be friends who basically turned on her and unalived her on that trip. She did not come back home safe to family, as the remainders did come back. So I want to share a small clip with you guys, and you guys can just put something in the chat. If you don't catch this live, please put something in the comment section and just, show your support and love towards the family that, we were thinking about her today, that, she didn't go in vain. And we're going to continue to pray that justice be served for Shanquella Robinson, because, she should have justice. No one should go on a trip and then not come back, the way that they didn't leave. It's just an unfortunate situation, you guys. And we covered this story really, really aggressively, very aggressively, and really hoping for justice for Shanquella Robinson. So I'm going to share my screen with y'all. Let me just put this up. I'm going to get my disclaimer up here before I press play on this. Okay. Disclaimer going at the bottom. Okay, you guys know I do not own the rights to this here video or audio that I will be sharing with you guys. I'm sharing it under fair act use, under the copyright disclaimer. So that is my disclaimer. This is for educational information purposes. And thank you to Javion, I think I'm saying your name right, Javion, for the prayers for the family. Much, much appreciated. Let me just find my screen share. Right. Update you guys on this here, since this is a smaller update. Alright, so this. Let's turn the background down for a second. Let me share my screen. What I like about this, I forget I need my device where I can zoom it in. There we go. Alright, so here's a little recap of the last year, or just to kind of give those who maybe tune in and is not really familiar with this story of Shanquella Robinson.
Today marks exactly 1 year since the death of Charlotte woman Shanquella Robinson. Her family is still fighting for justice. Her story gained national attention after Robinson mysteriously died while vacationing with people she knew in Cabo. Well, her family and friends have been calling for justice by leading rallies across the country. Back in April of this year, federal authorities announced they would not seek charges in Robinson's death. U.S. officials say their investigation didn't find evidence to support federal prosecution. Still, the attorney for the family says they were told by the FBI and Interpol that the case isn't closed.
So it's a situation where there's still more questions than answers. In terms of the Mexican authorities, they've continuously advised that this is a high priority for them and that they're using their diplomatic channels to push for extradition.
Well, we'll have more coverage tomorrow on the legal battle the family is facing and how they're working to make sure that her name is remembered.
So that was just one small update. So sounds like Mexico is doing their diligence. They are pursuing extradition, process along the treaty of the USA, but something is holding the USA back from not honoring it, which is very disappointing, not only to the viewers and the supporters who have been, continuously keeping Shanquella's name alive, but to the family, and it's just like, what is the USA even trying to do with this case? It doesn't take a year to start an extradition process if everything is put in place, as Mexico has put out there. It's just sad, you guys. Excuse me. I'm just trying to see, was there any more additional updates? Now, I know, that Shank had went down to the cemetery to do a balloon release, and he did give credit to the other content creators who have been fighting for justice for Shanquella Robinson. And under the Fair Act use, I would like to share a snippet of his doings, since he was, honorable enough to acknowledge myself in the equation with the other content creators who have been out here fighting for justice for Shanquella Robinson. Now, he did a little meet and greet prior to the balloon release. I'm sure there'll be more updates and content on that later. But as of right now, I just wanted to just share a snippet of it. I don't want to take too much of his content. But out of all due respect that he did, like I said, acknowledge myself, I want to, be respectful in return, and also acknowledge him that he was out there with the Rock Squad and paying their respect, and honoring Shanquella Robinson on today. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And again, this is under Fair Act use. I do not own the rights to this here video or audio. This is belongs to It's Respectful Content Creator, which is Shank Rock. And again, he acknowledged me. So, with respect, I'll do the same.
Shanquella Robinson. But me, along with the Rock Squad and other YouTubers and bloggers and content creators and subscribers, no matter how emotional we get, no matter how sad we get, no matter how hard it is, we all will continue to cover her case. We all will continue to raise awareness. So a big shout out to all of the content creators that has been covering the case. LA from NC.
Okay, so I'm gonna let him just say some of the names of the content creators that he wants to address.
RN Natural. I don't want to leave nobody out. Hollywood Next.
Okay, so I appreciated that part of it. I'm not going to put all the other content creators out there, but definitely this is a moment. And again, all due respect to the Robinsons family. Yes, it has been an emotional roller coaster for a lot of us content creators who have diligently came together to fight. Well, not came together, but individually came out to fight the fight to continue to keep awareness of Shanquella Robinson's case, and that we did our part as content creators to, show love to this young queen. She was a boss. That's what Shanquella Robinson meant to me. And I know he asked those questions to the people that was there with him. And I'll extend the olive branch and I'll ask the viewers, what did Shanquella Robinson mean to you, and how did this case affect you all? When you guys heard this story about Shanquella Robinson going over to Cabo, Mexico, and it was said that she had had alcohol poisoning when that wasn't the actual cause of her unaliving. Mexico stated that she had a broken neck, atlas luxation, and that alcohol did not play a part in her unaliving. And so, I just for me, it was devastating because it was like she was so young. Honestly, I didn't really buy into the alcohol poisoning. It was just odd and it was strange that she was the only one who suffered from alcohol poisoning while the rest of the team that was there, no one else had, any symptoms or signs of it. Then when the video came out that she was attacked, it was like, this is what happened to her. Not knowing, the autopsy results at that time, that her neck was broken and her spinal cord was injured. It was just like, when I saw the video, I was like, this to me looked more like this was the cause and the effect of her unaliving. It just made more sense, and it just things started coming together. And since I am a content creator of Pieces of the Puzzle as well, another platform that I run, I started putting the puzzle pieces together, one piece at a time. And then there were one of the Cabo members who came out, which I call him One Way, but his name is Nazir. And so when he came out, he started saying that, he wasn't there. He had got there the day of the day that everything supposedly had transpired. He got there after everything went down. I started doing my own investigation, and I started reaching out to the airlines and asking questions once he released his airline information of what we had at that time. I started calling the airlines, and I was wanting to find out, what time did his flight get there? Was he there on the 28th, or did he get there on the 29th as he stated that he had gotten there? And so for me, contrary to whatever others said out there, I called literally the next day and of his interview. If not, a matter of fact, I believe I called the same night of his interview, because something in me just didn't believe that, I didn't believe his story. So I started doing a little research, and as I researched, the airlines reported to me that he had gotten there on the 28th. That was what was told to me. Okay. And then, he tried to diligently fight it and say, no, I was there on the 29th. But like I said, that was what was reported to me by American Airlines at that time. I believe it was American Airlines. And so it was American Airlines. And so, so that was one of the things that we had over here on Nexus platform discovered, and we reported it. Then, we started getting more information, and then I started doing research, and then I started finding out some of the people who was on this trip, who their families were, who they were connected to, and it just started opening up a big old can of worms, and I was like, uh-oh. So, the Elisa Hyatt's family, I got even information on, I broke the story on Dejanay's family and her whereabouts at the time. Also, Elise Hyatt, that her sister was a former officer or some along the lines, maybe still currently an officer in the Charlotte area. And so it started getting weirder by the second for me. And then, I started getting more information and digging a little deeper, just trying to connect some of the dots and putting the pieces to the puzzle together, one piece at a time. And with doing that, it started unraveling a whole bunch of more stuff, and it just got, deeper. But, so the bottom line is what we unraveled here on Piecez and Hollywood Next platform was just... it was a big cover-up, alleged cover-up, I should say. It was an alleged cover-up. Someone did not want this story to get resolved. They didn't want this story out here to this capacity, and we kept her story going. Okay, so today this means a lot to just acknowledge Shanquella Robinson today. And for those of you guys who also wanted the same thing that we want and still want to this day, which is justice for Shanquella Robinson. Wow. I mean, it was just so much. Then I unraveled that. Well, I didn't unravel it. Other content creators were putting information out here, and I was gathering things from what they were putting out here. And when they put out their, the street justice, the so-called street justice that went down or whatnot, and then, I started like looking into that, and then I started freezing the videos up, and then I saw someone put out there this transgender type person, and I was like, that's what attacked Shanquella. That's what it was. Like, I was so fixated on, that's what did it to Shanquella Robinson. Like, you couldn't tell me that. First, I was so on that it was one way, aka Nazir. I would have put my last dollar, it was Nazir. That was either he went in there and dressed as a transgender, because it looked like it was a male attacking Shanquella Robinson. I just was not believing that it was Dejanay Jackson. And I'm not taking away that it is Dejanay Jackson if it is Dejanay Jackson. I'm just saying it was given male figure. And so, and I'm just looking back on 1 year, you guys. So by the way, I'm just to kind of give y'all a recap. I'm just looking back on 1 year, and it was given transgender attack Shanquella. And a lot of people were saying that, and then, like I said, when the street justice came out, and then Winter Donovan, one of the Cabo members' brother, okay, that's now a transgender, I was like, it looks like Dejanay. And so, like, in my mind, I was like, it's Dejanay Jackson, lookalike, that attacked Shanquella. So if it wasn't Dejanay, then it was this, I call it thing one and thing two. And so it was just giving so much. Wow. So it was like all this information is out here. I just couldn't imagine how, they couldn't come up with charges to bring against one of these members, if not one all, to get justice for Shanquella Robinson. Then I started really dissecting the video, slowing it down, looking at it, and just going over it again and again and again. And things started popping out. And I was like, wait a minute. When Shanquella was walking through the villa, if you slow it down, there's somebody over there by that dresser. And I didn't see that at first. It was like, the person opened up the door, and I didn't even see the person open up the door. It was like a imagery of a white T-shirt and somebody, and they got out the way real fast. And I was like, wait a minute, that's a person. And they moved out so fast that the next person you see is Khalil Cook, one of the other Cabo members. I'm like, wait a minute, that's one that opened up the door. That's Khalil, that's two. And I look over there by the dress. I'm like, that's a female. So I put the heat on it. And then I started seeing a structure. That's 3. Then next to it, that's 4. And then you go over there and you're like, that's 5, 6, that's 7 people. And then Shanquella's walking through the village. That's number 8. And then we kept looking at the setting of the table. And I'm like, wait a minute. It's 8 table settings out here. Why would they set the table for 8 if it's 6 of them that's there? I've never been to a place where they put more plates on the table. Even me and my 1-year-old niece that I'm raising, we went to the Black Bear restaurant. First time I'm ever going to the Black Bear restaurant a couple of weeks ago. They put 2 servings up there for me and for her. So in my mind, I'm thinking about Shanquella Robinson. Even in that midst of that moment, I'm like, wait a minute. They didn't put 6 other settings here for other people. They sat us at a table that would accommodate me and my niece. And they actually got her one of those high chairs. And then they sat it for 2 of us. It was like, it's just you 2. Yeah. So, it's protocol to set the table for the number of people that's going to be there. I can't imagine if there's not 8 people on the trip that you set the table for 8 people. What would be the purpose? Like, that just doesn't add up. So, I'm putting 2 and 2 together. And throughout the entire case, this is what we were doing here on Team Next, along with other content creators that were putting information out there. It was like, okay, I could see this, and then, I'm grabbing this, and then finding that transgender, I just got stuck right there. I was like, okay, so if it's not Dejanay, if it's not one way, it's this way. You know what I'm saying? So we was just coming up with so much stuff. And it's just like, I felt like we were going to get justice sooner than this year today. I was really thinking that we would hear something, with all the information, not just me. And I can't take the credit because Lord knows I didn't do this by myself. It was the help of you supporters, the viewers, you guys emailing me, inboxing me, sending me information, giving me your own intake on stuff. I mean, you guys were on it as much as the platform was. You guys were as well. You guys were watching other content creators. You were checking things there and checking things there. And like, Hollywood, just revisit this and go check this out and look at this news thing. So we were doing each and everything that we could individually, yet collectively as a whole, trying our hardest to get justice for Shanquella Robinson. I mean, the team that we have put together was amazing. So shout out to everybody that did support Hollywood Nex's platform. And those who didn't support the platform, just shout out to everybody because, when you growing, you're going to recognize the growth. And the growth is so real that we don't even have time to embark on the negative stuff. Today is a positive day. It's not a positive day, but it's a moment that we just remembering Shanquella Robinson on this 1-year day. And so, that was like some of the things that we were doing. And, it was getting real, y'all. And honestly, with the information that's out there, I still can't even imagine 1 year today and no justice for Shanquella Robinson. It's very hard to believe, honestly. I also did reach out to Mr. Bernard Robinson. I didn't get a response back because I did send the message prior to doing this live. Because I wanted to just make sure he knew that we were thinking of him today and the Robinson's family and that they were in our continuous prayers. And so, but today means a lot because it's 1 year later and there's still no justice for Shanquella Robinson. I'm going to continue to keep my prayers going. I'm going to continue to keep my faith alive that, something will happen. It didn't happen in the time we wanted it to happen, but it's never our time, and it's always God's timing. His timing is always right on time. But I want you guys to just know that I did not leave you guys. I just have to walk away from certain things that just meant the platform no good to be able to come back and be better and stronger and present to you guys what we have been unraveling around, Shanquella Robinson's case for this past year. So, Thank you to everybody that did support the platform. Thank you to everybody that hit the like button when y'all came in. Thank you guys who subscribed to the platform. That was awesome as well. It was very much appreciated because it started getting recognition that we were still fighting for Shanquella Robinson. It was never about myself. It was never about being the better blogger or the first reporter on the story. It was just get the information out there. That was always what my intentions were, because I would want someone to do what I did for me if it was me in this situation, you know. Shout out to the people that was behind the scenes that said, you know what, I'm going to try to connect you to Mr. Bernard Robinson, you know, and made it happen. Got the information and shared the information with me, and shout out to them for that. You know, I keep my sources to myself because I don't want to share my sources, and I appreciate everybody. Like, if they would like to be acknowledged, I don't have an issue acknowledging them, but when you know, doing reporting, you want to keep your sources close. And you don't want to, you know, share that. That's kind of like, you know, you just don't have to do that. You just report the story. And so we were able to get Mr. Robinson to come on. It was unfortunate, some of the circumstances that surrounded his comings, but it was fortunate enough that we were able to get him to come on and still talk about Shanquella Robinson, you know, and acknowledge, you know, our platform here, and just to continue to pray for him and what he was dealing with and continuously to deal with, you know. We love Mr. Robinson over here. We want justice for the Robinson's family. You know, and then just a lot of weird stuff was happening. But like I said, today is just a day to just remember Shanquella Robinson 1 year later, and ask the viewers, you know, what does she mean to you guys? You guys leave your comments in the comment section. I'm going to start reading the comments. If anybody want to call in and acknowledge, you know, or just say something through this live, you're more than welcome to call in. The phone number is always the same, 404-618-2442. I will also highlight it up on the screen. That way, you know, you guys can, you know, call in and say a few words if you like. Very much, I'm sure the Robinsons family would appreciate it. So let me get the call-in number. Pull it up here. Okay, there we go. So I got the call-in number at the bottom of the screen on the ticker. So if you guys want to, you know, call in, this will be a great time to just call in and acknowledge whatever it is you want to acknowledge. And in the meantime, I'm going to look in the comment section and just read some of y'all comments and acknowledge, you know, the people that did tune into this live. And shout out to those who are unable and maybe catch the playback. So shout out to Javion, sending the prayers to the Robinsons family, and I'll also highlight that as well. Karen Hofford is in the building. Shout out to her. She said that she heard the Shank this morning about the Shanquella. Yes, okay, we're acknowledging that. Also, Simona says justice for Shanquella Robinson. And then we got PM Channel in the building. It says, salute Hollywood Next. Thank you for your tireless coverage of Shanquella Robinson. I appreciate you. I was devastated when I saw her video. The fact she was naked, yes. No one helped, did not deserve. Man, that right there, that's big, you know, because I try to block the part that she was not clothed out of my mind, but thank you for the acknowledgement of that. You know, very much appreciated. Shout out to the member in the building as well, Miss Karen J. Really, really appreciate you as well for tuning into this live. But yeah, you know, that was devastating to see somebody unclothed and getting treated the way she got treated, and everyone just sat there around and watched. No one had the decency to stop it, you know, help her, you know, just left her there like that. And then, you know, all the people that was around that like the Cabo members, some say 6, I believe it was 7 other individuals there. Shanquella made 8. It could have been more. I'm not really sure if it was more, but I know that I can certainly account for 7 people outside of Shanquella, including her, would make number 8. I know that we got the watermark was a bad hinder for us. We couldn't see anything past the watermark, and it's so unfortunate that the blogger or the content creator was unwilling to remove the watermark just so we could see if there was anything that may be visible to us. I noticed too. Even though they said it was Dejanay, and I can't take it away that it was or if it was not Dejanay, because it was said she was there on the trip, but the Dejanay that they're accusing, who would have been the aggressive person, if in all the videos that we were able to see that was put out here, she never showed her face. At the dinner table, you could not see clearly her face. She was always turned one way. She was always distracted. She had her phone up in her face. The flashlight was going. It was so much distractions in the videos that they did have that everybody else is being visibly shown. But when it was time for us to identify Dejanay Jackson, I could not, and I stand firm on this to this day, I cannot say 100% without a reasonable and a shadow of a doubt that was Dejanay Jackson. I can't say it, because I just could not see the visibility. And even when they were doing the game and the push-ups, the drinking game and the push-ups, her head was down. She never looked up at the camera. Winter Donovan looked up at the camera. Winter Donovan was notable at the table. You watched Elise Hyde walk in the room. You saw Khalil. You saw Malik. But you just could not see if that was Dejanay. And I challenge anybody to go back and watch that video and tell me if you see Dejanay or if it's just imagery of what could be Dejanay. And again, if you got thing 2 coming out here that could favor her, it definitely leaves a question mark there if it was in fact Dejanay Jackson. Wow, what else? It was so much stuff, you guys. That was just, making the case mysterious as the days would grow. It was just so much. It was just so much. But again, today marks 1 year that Shanquella Robinson has, been gone and no justice. So very sad, very unfortunate, because, like I said, she should have had justice. So I'm just going to take the time for a second to kind of look around and see if there's any additional updates in Shanquella Robinson's case outside of what I just shared with you guys. But honestly, I believe I played what they did have. Let me just check one more location. What was that? WCNC. I'm going to check out WC. Let's check out WCNC. Okay, Shanquella. Robinson. And then what was so devastating too was when the results came back that they didn't have anything to charge the Cabo members with. That was very devastating, But there were marches, there were rallies, there were organized events and things like that, and it's still mind-boggling 1 year later that still no justice for Shanquella Robinson. So I don't really see any additional updates as of now. It's usually when I get off, then something always pops up. It never fails. So let's just see. But yeah, like I said, you guys that don't catch the live, make sure you guys leave your comments in the comment section and continue to keep the Robinsons family uplifted in prayer. Just trying to see if there's anything else. And honestly, I see nothing. I'm gonna check the main news. Let's just put this in here. Okay, hold on, y'all. Okay, hold on, y'all. I found a few things. Hold on, y'all. Okay. So it looks like this is some good news today. Honestly, I'm going to say this is some good news right here. So let's just go ahead and let me share my screen with you guys. This is some good news right here. Like, this is good. For 1 year later, this is what I would like to report. Okay, let's get into this right here. Let me share my screen. I like this news right here. Wow. So, Shanquella, now that's what I'm talking about. I mean, they probably couldn't get them right now momentarily for unaliving her, but the fact that they were able to get a lawsuit over her unaliving, okay? So let's get into this here, and let's see. So the family of a woman that was unalived in Mexico on a Mexico vacation, they are going to sue 6 of her travel companions for hindering an investigation into her death. That right there is good news, because I feel like this can help move the ball that has been sitting in the corner for a year, basically. Okay, so Shanquella Robinson, 25 years old, who ran her own hair braiding business in Charlotte, North Carolina, had traveled to Mexico with 6 of her would-be, because they're not her friends. I call them would-be, like they say would-be robbers, would-be friends. On October the 28th, 2022, for a short vacation, her severely injured body was found the next day. See, when they say it like that, it's starting to make me get more vested again, because it's given she was unalive the day she got there. You know what I'm saying? And then the next day they created this narrative that it happened on the 29th, and then again it doesn't. The sad part about the unaliving is she could have been there for hours, cold, stone hard, cold, right? Past unalived. It does not count until an official rules her unalive. And see, that's the trickery part about the time of death and timing in the time of death, okay? Because it like I said, and working in the nursing field, I've had patients expire. That's the way we speak in medical terminology. I've had patients expire on my shift, and I know they passed away at 12:02. But until the officials come in there and declare them unalive, that 12:02 means absolutely nothing. It could be 6 hours later, and that's the time that they will pronounce that person unalive. It's when the officials pronounce it. Not me, not nobody, but the officials. Okay? So that's the conflict of interest when it comes to the time of death. In any case, you're never going to get the accuracy unless you was just right there and you knew it was 12:02, but you can't put it on documentation, and only the officials can do that. So that's the thing. She could have been unalive on that Friday, and then because the officials didn't get there to the 29th when they created this big old scenario and said, hey, this is what just happened, and she's suffering, you know, because what doesn't make sense is if you guys was drinking through the night, right? Just follow me for a second. If you guys was drinking through the night, and then the next morning, you know, what was she drinking all the way up until 7 a.m. in the morning, until the fight broke out? Not even the fight, but the attack on her broke out. So she was just all this intoxicated at that hour in the morning. Like, so you would have to have been drinking from the night before to the next morning when the attack on Shanquella transpired to say she suffered from alcohol poisoning. Makes absolutely no sense. And that's something that just came in my mind. I know that was Shanquella wanted me to put that out there on the air, okay? Because that's how, you know, things work when we start speaking, you know, this case again. And so, yeah, it couldn't have been alcohol poisoning. Not the day of. They could have ran with that the night before, but the day of, and this happened, this attack on her happened in the morning, and then what? So after the attack, are you trying to tell us, the people, that she went after getting attacked like that, she started drinking all the way up until she just stumbled and just passed out. And then y'all just like, okay, let's call and say we need some help now. See, they definitely hindered this case, and I'm glad that the family has taken it upon themselves to do something to bring some type of resolutions to the family and get the ball moving. I believe this can shake them up some and make somebody talk. Okay, we're going to keep praying and continue to stay hopeful for the family. Okay, so let's continue with the reading. So the lawsuit will be against the 6 travel mates, including the 3 who lied by omission by failing to disclose that someone had been beating Shanquella prior to her death. Family lawyer Sue Ann Robinson told this to the Newsweek. Okay, so Shanquella Robinson was found unconscious in the living room of a rented villa in San Jose del Cabo, a resort city on the southern tip of Mexico, Baja California Peninsula. She was unalived that afternoon. According to her father, Bernard Robinson, some of her friends said she had succumbed to alcohol poisoning. But an autopsy released in November found that his daughter had unalived of a severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, a condition where unstable or excessive movement is present in the first 2 vertebrae of the neck 15 minutes after being injured. Okay, a second video began circulating online 5 days later that showed a woman identified as Robinson by her family being repeatedly punched and kicked by another woman. A man standing nearby can be heard saying, "Quilla, can you at least fight back?" The video later went viral on social media, with many people across America calling for justice for for Shanquella Robinson. The woman alleged to have beaten Robinson was one of her travel companions. She returned to the United States and has shut down her social media accounts. Newsweek's repeated attempts to contact her have not been successful. Sue Ann Robinson confirmed that the law firm she works for will be filing a civil lawsuit on behalf of the family. She says Shanquella's families are tired, weary, heartbroken, and missing Shanquella, but motivated by her legacy to keep moving forward on the path to her justice. Robinson's mysterious death and the video resulted in an investigation by the FBI and the Mexican police. In November 2022, the Mexican police released an investigative report that showed that Robinson may have been alive for several hours and received care from a doctor before authorities arrived and pronounced her dead. The doctors told authorities that Robinson's friends had insisted she be taken care of in the house instead of going to the hospital. Now, that's very conflicting to the report where the concierge said that he's the one that offered to bring a doctor there. It wasn't the friends that said, let's not take her to the hospital. It was under the concierge's advice that we can bring a nurse or doctor to the villa, when it was said that the friends wanted to originally take her to the hospital. So that right there is giving something ain't adding up right there. And we were putting these pieces of the puzzle together one piece at a time, and it just did not make any sense. It didn't fit right there, okay? So this case is fully clarified. We even have a court order. There is an arrest warrant issued for the crime of femicide to the detriment of the victim and against an alleged perpetrator, a so-called friend. I'm just going to call it a so-called friend because it's not a friend of hers, of her who is the direct aggressor. State prosecutor Danielle De La Rosa Anaya told ABC News at the time, actually it wasn't a quarrel, but instead a direct aggression. We are carrying out all the pertinent procedures such as the Interpol alert and the request for extradition to the United States of America. It's about 2 Americans, the victim and the culprit. Sue Ann Robinson has already traveled to Mexico and was in direct contact with Mexican authorities who shared some of their investigative files. She has not said to Newsweek when she intended to launch the civil actions against the 6. Paul Arnell, associate professor at Robert Gordon University, previously told Newsweek that political issues can interfere with the extradition process, even though the U.S. and the Mexico's are allies. Now, what could interfere with that? What could possibly interfere with the extradition process? Like, I feel like they need to elaborate a little bit more on that alone. But anyway, the continuance of the reading says the political concerns can affect the decision to request an individual and the decisions whether or not to exceed to hand the person over. The process is therefore somewhat dependent upon overall relations between the countries. If, say, Mexico has refused to send persons to the U.S., then in turn the U.S. may act similarly, he said. So this is our answer right here to my question. So if, say, Mexico has refused to send persons to the U.S., then in return, the U.S. may act similarly. So I think this is answering why the USA is not trying to cooperate, in other words, okay? Because they're basically not even saying in terms of Shanquella Robinson's case, and this is just my personal opinion, okay? The way that I'm interpreting this here statement is that if the Mexico has not been willing to send people from Mexico to the USA, then the USA is not going to send any of these members to Mexico. That's what I'm getting from this. You guys leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know how you're perceiving that there story, that statement alone from this here reading, okay? So just to kind of give you guys a recap, the mystery of Shanquella Robinson's death on October 29, 2022. Shanquella Robinson was found unalive in Mexico. Medical examinations and records raised questions about the circumstances of Robinson's death. On November the 20th, 2022, a video emerged online allegedly showing a naked Robinson being hit multiple times by another woman. A man off camera can be heard asking Quilla, "Can you at least fight back?" On March 13, 2023, attorneys Ben Crump and Suanne Robinson identified a woman suspected of Robinson's death in a letter addressed to President Joe Biden and Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. The letter called on the U.S. government to either extradite the woman to Mexico or prosecute her in the USA. In a note attached to the letter, and an administrator and concierge for the villa where the group was staying tells Mexican authorities that having reviewed the video clip, they recognized the woman beating Robinson in the widely circulated video. On October 20, 2023, as Shanquella Robinson's first anniversary approaches, her family's attorneys tells Newsweek that she intends to sue 6 of Robinson's companions for hindering the investigation. Okay, and that right there completes the reading. But that right there is giving hope alive to the family. Okay, and I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm nagging or I'm, I don't want to sound like I'm nagging or attacking, but they could have did this a long time ago. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was just something to have for this day, but I feel like they could have been put this civil suit in against these members who lied, openly lied, confessedly lied. They lied to the Mexican authorities. If they spoke to the FBI in the United States, that means they lied to them too. If they told them that that she had passed away from alcohol poison. Now, call me crazy if you want, but something just sparked my mind as well as I thought about it. It's going to be a conflict of interest either way it goes, because even if they told the Americans that it was alcohol poison, they sticking to their story, America cannot determine the cause of Shanquella's unaliving. So it's almost like this is going to be another uphill battle, due to the fact that America said they cannot bring charges up against them, and then you got Mexico saying one thing, and then you got America saying another. This whole case is a conflict of interest. It's so sad and it's so unfortunate. But again, we have fought diligently, and we continue to bring, all of our diligence to this family and to this case, and that they get justice for Shanquella Robinson. I just gotta call it as I see it, because I saw it, and I would feel bad to not address my thoughts on that. So let me just go back in the comment section. I see a few more of y'all coming in the chat. Shout out to Candy in the building. She says, hey, Nex and Chad, happy to see you all in the chat. Happy Sunday and justice for Shanquella Robinson. So thank you so much for your comment. Also, we got Lisa Gibson in the building. Prayers up for the family. Candy said, I hope the civil lawsuit brings about their other charges. Yeah, I mean, because even if the conflict with them sticking to their story that it's alcohol poisoning, and in America saying, well, we can't bring charges because we can't determine the cause of death, then what else would they use in the civil? Like, I feel like the deleted text messages is going to be strong to benefit them in the lawsuit. The conflict stories, the fact that they're saying one thing, and then it's just, I don't know, we just gotta, I just want to stay hopeful, and I just want to stay positive, but I also gotta keep it real. Like, if I see something, I have to say something, because that's what we do here on this particular platform. We see it, we say it, but Lisa did say that's right. Shauna Jeffrey says prayers. Thank you so much for that. Let's see. Lisa says, I agree. They're not, and it's confusing as ever, because why not? The excuse they're using is femicide at its best, right? We have to acknowledge that they are using femicide. Shout out to Karen. Angela's in the building. She also says hello. But yeah, I have to recognize that the conflict is because Mexico is sticking to femicide as a gender-based attack on Shanquella Robinson, and it does mean that it's someone who portrayed themselves as a female who attacked Shanquella because of her. Because she's female, because it's gender-based, I should say it in their terminology. But I don't know, you guys. That's the problem. So it's like, will Mexico change it from femicide to just flat-out homicide? If they're not going to prosecute it, or if the Americans are not going to send anyone back, because it just basically put there right in our faces, and I almost overlooked it had I not slowed down my reading and really dissected the thought of what it was stating. And when it made that statement that Mexico ain't sending nobody to us, so why should we send somebody to Mexico? So it's tit for tat. But somebody lost their life. Shanquella Robinson lost her life, and her life means something, and it matters. And they should not play this tit for tat game around the passing of a current event. If you're concerned about them not sending someone to you, or you not sending, don't play with her case when her case can be resolved. Her case can get some resolution, and she can get justice for her case. Okay? The whole case is a lot of confusion on the radars. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so and so let's see. 1 year later, family continues to seek justice for Shanquella Robinson. Then we have they can't hold anyone accountable. Shanquella Robinson is being remembered 1 year today. Let me get my screen back up here. If I can find my screen share. Okay, so this one is coming in from the Charlotte's Observer. They can't hold anyone accountable. Shanquella Robinson is remembered 1 year later. So it's like they emphasized that, and they wanted to put that out there that they cannot hold anyone accountable. So maybe this is some type of encrypted message, and this is all alleged now. Don't get it twisted. This is some type of encrypted something from for the members or something. I don't know, but let's let this read to us. It's a 4-minute read.
They can't hold anyone accountable. Shanquella Robinson remembered 1 year later. It's been a year since Charlotte native Shanquella Robinson died under suspicious circumstances on October 29, 2022, during a vacation to Mexico. Robinson was only 25 when she traveled south of the border to a resort villa in San Jose Cabo with 6 others and died a day after arriving. To date, amid much speculation, no arrests have been made in a case that has been reviewed by authorities from Mexico to Washington. It's not clear if there are any public plans to commemorate the 1-year anniversary of Robinson's death, which officially is Sunday. Attempts by the Charlotte Observer to reach Robinson's family members, including her father Ben Robinson, mother Salamander Robinson and her sister, Quia Long, were unsuccessful. With the FBI ceasing its investigation due to inclusive evidence and the Department of Justice not seeking criminal charges, activists say the only true path to justice for Robinson right now is never forgetting her. Make sure that your name stays out there, John C. Barnett, a national civil rights activist, told the Charlotte Observer Monday. You have no choice but to bring exposure to the case. What that does is make sure that the White House doesn't forget about Shanquella Robinson. Things sit dormant because there's no activity. Just a quick
Bay Area. If you're wasting your summer on shaving and waxing, then it's
Okay, so let's take that down. Let me move this off the screen. And then let me go back. That's sad. But they did say that the family did not, want to come out and say anything. Maybe they will or something later. But as of right now, it's a lot to digest. Like 1 year later, and with all the information and what I believe evidence is out there, it's just really hard that they're not able to get justice for her. Let's see, what is this? Okay, so let me share this one. Let me get this right. And let me see. One of your questions in the chat is, the family declined to do a third autopsy. Why? From my understanding, what I heard was that it's going to confuse the case even more. That's what I heard. It will confuse the case even more. Because Mexico already did one and gave us a result. America did another, gave us a conflicting result. But they got the same, defensive wounds and, markings as Mexico, but they don't have the same conclusion, which I find oddly and strange. But, yeah, it's a conflict if they do a third one. And I don't know, and I don't think they want to conflict this case more than what it already is. It's already just, devastating. So, yeah, that's where they are with that. I don't know what's going on with this. It's so slow. Since the death. This is going to be the last one, if I can get it to load up for us. But again, you guys that are tuning in or just now tuning in, if you haven't hit the like button, please go ahead and take your time out and hit the like button. Also, leave a comment in the comment section, okay? Something positive, for the Robinsons family, something encouraging. And again, as updates become available, of course, I'll be back to give you guys updates. You know, I just don't want to be repetitive in this story telling, as we have told it so many times, so many different ways, that, you know, I just wanted to acknowledge Shanquella Robinson on today for certain. It wouldn't be right if I did not. As much as we put into this case to, you know, fight this case. Let's see. So, looks like we got a little ad here. Okay, I think this is the same article that I already played.
Her family is still fighting for justice. Her story gained national attention after Robinson mysteriously died while vacationing with people she knew in Cabo. Well, her family and friends have been calling for justice by leading rallies across the country. Back in April of this year, federal authorities announced they would not seek charges in Robinson's death. U.S. officials say their investigation didn't find evidence to support federal prosecution. Still, the attorney for the family says they were told by the FBI and Interpol that the case isn't closed.
So it's a situation where there's still more questions than answers. In terms of the Mexican authorities, they've continuously advised that this is a high priority for them and that they're using their diplomatic channels to push for extradition.
Well, we'll have more coverage tomorrow on the legal battle the family is facing and how they're working to make sure that her name is remembered.
So, yeah, that's pretty much the most updates as we have reported. And we just continue to keep the Robinson's family uplifted in prayer. That is my time. I do want to thank each and every one of you guys who tune into this live and those to come. I see a couple of more comments. I just want to acknowledge some of them. So let me get in the comment section. 1 second, y'all. Okay. All right. So, yeah, but I definitely want to say thank you to each and every one of you guys, and thank you to everybody who was supporting the Robinson's family, the case, the content creators, named and unnamed, you know, that did their diligence and continue to do their diligence and continue to, you know, acknowledge and just keep her name alive in the social media world, so that those who do tune in can, you know, have some awareness on her case. Again, Candy said, I'm wondering if they are going to file a suit against the villa. Well, as of right now, it's just stating that they're going to go after the Cabo members, you know, and we just have to wait and see what happens with that. I mean, I'm sure something like that may happen eventually, but as of right now, it's only being reported that they are going to go after those Cabo members, which is something I feel like they should have done a while ago, but hey, rather late than never. So that is my reporting on this here. I'll continue to give you guys updates as they become available. Don't forget to like this video if you haven't already on your way out, if you didn't do it on your way in, and if you're new to this channel, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. And if you're a member, you already know I appreciate you so very much for keeping the lights on over here for us so that we can continue to report and bring awareness to Shanquella Robinson's case and any other case that we report here on this particular platform of hollywoodnex. I am your host with the most, bringing you that news you can use and those exclusives when we get them. And I thank to each and every one of you guys and those behind the scenes, named and unnamed, for your diligence and continuously fighting for Shanquella Robinson. And again, shout out to Shank Rock for acknowledging me as one of the content creators who have put in a lot in this fight for Shanquella Robinson's and the justice for the family. And I just wish nothing but positivity to everybody moving forward and all your endeavors. And justice for Shanquella Robinson. That is my time. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And again, don't forget to hit that like button on your way out if you didn't hit it on your way in. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're almost at 15,000 subscribers. So I want to thank each and every one of you guys. And I will be back bringing you guys yet another one. And that's my time. Piecez.